Hey guys, it's Mrs. Lee History, and I know it's been a long time since I have updated my channel, but this week is the week of STAR Test here in Texas. And so my 8th grade students suggested that I give you a little room tour before I have to take everything down as we prepare for our state test. And so this video is more for like our social studies teachers, but maybe some of our students will find something helpful here as well. And so I know that the end of the year is coming up, but this is maybe something to file away for next year as you set up your classroom in August. So one of the things that I like to do is I keep a timeline of the major events in American history that we study here in 8th grade in Texas. And then I like to break it up into eras. So I don't actually put this timeline up until it's actually time for that era. So in August, I'll put up all of our very first era, which is exploration and colonization. And you might see that there's two events here that have some yellow behind them. We call those hot dates because they are years that have to be memorized in 8th grade social studies. So I'll put the events up as we're starting the era. And then I have a lot of vocabulary, and I kind of use this wall then as my word wall. And the kids help me decide where would the word best fit on the timeline. So like we put self-government with Mayflower Compact because the Mayflower Compact is the first self-government. We put colony with Jamestown, Virginia because it is Britain's first successful colony in North America. Then you can see I also have printed out pictures of some of the famous people, the VIPs, that we have posted in our teaks here in Texas. Now, one thing you'll notice is that for each era, I have a little placard that is done in a different color. So I like to think of exploration and colonization as yellow because I think about all of the different countries coming and setting up empires looking for gold. Then we get to our next era, which is the American Revolution. And I like to think of this as red because I think of the American colonists fighting against the redcoats. Okay. You can also see as we move into this era, we have little memory tricks like the order of events for the American Revolution, LSVY, stop sign. We move into our third era, which is Constitution. And when I think of the Constitution, I think of the color black because this is America putting down the new rules in black ink. Now, as we move over into this section, you can see more of these student-made posters. And this is a project that you can do at the very end of the school year, maybe after your state testing. And I learned this from an educator when I went to a Region 4 conference. And so students pick a topic and they become experts on it, and they make a poster of all the big ideas that they think that other students need to know. And I actually put these posters up at the very beginning of the year before school starts, even before the rest of the timeline is up. And basically what the teacher at the conference said was, hey, if you have these posters up, if a kid is not paying attention to every word you're saying during the class period, they're looking around the room, they're probably going to still learn something from your wall that's going to help them eventually. Okay? We also have right here our Bill of Rights and flip rocks, as you guys may know from one of my 7 principles video. All right, then we move into the next era, which we usually get to now a little bit before Christmas time, and then we wrap it up after Christmas in early January. And that's Early Republic. And when I think of the Early Republic, I think of the color white, because this is going to be America starting fresh. They've become their own new nation, and they are going to be in charge of themselves. They have a brand new page to turn in their book. Okay? So you can see there's another yellow hot date, 1803 Louisiana Purchase. Okay, then we move into green, which is the Industrial Revolution. And so I always think of the color green for Industrial Revolution because we're thinking about America starting to make their own money. They're taking care of themselves and they're making bank. All right, then we move on to purple, which is the age of Jackson. And when I think of Jackson, I think about that famous political cartoon of him dressed up as a king. And so purple is the color of royalty. Then we move into westward expansion, or what I usually call manifest destiny. And when I think of manifest destiny, I think of the color orange, because as you move west, I think of like the Grand Canyon and all of those red dirt deserts. Then we move into our next era, which is reform. And I often think of reform as the color pink, okay? So I think of the color pink because this is gonna be the first time that many women in society start standing up and getting vocal and taking a stance on making changes in our country. All right, then we move into civil war, which I think of as the color blue because we have the blue and the gray fighting each other in the Civil War. And then finally, our last era in 8th grade social studies is the era of Reconstruction. And I always think of the color gray because I think of Reconstruction. We're rebuilding. We're going to use cement, gray cement, and we're going to cement the country back together. So I hope that this little look at my classroom is helpful for you as teachers. Basically, the reason I do this is because I have my students like point to where they could find the answers during a test. And then they have it basically cemented in their brains so that when I do take everything down, or like if we're benchmark testing and I had to cover up everything on the wall, I could still ask kids, where's the answer? And they can point to where it is in the classroom. And some people say, oh, well, you let those kids look at those answers on the wall while they're taking just a regular unit test. Yeah, if it's a unit test, that's just gonna help them later on when it comes time for the big day for STAR test. And so I can guarantee that today when I take everything off of the wall, my kids are still going to remember where everything is. And so when they go take their state test, they're not gonna test in here, they're gonna test in some other teacher's classroom. But I always tell them, close your eyes, think about where was it in Miss Lee's classroom? Was it on the left side? Was it on the right side? Was it on the wall behind you? Was it on the wall to the side of you? Whatever. So I hope that this helps you and your students, and I hope that you guys have a great end of the school year if you're watching this when the video first comes out, or I hope that you have a wonderful new school year as you start to plan out your new classroom. Well, good luck to you guys. I wish you all the best on your STAR test, and I hope that you have a great day. Bye, guys.